I'm Stephanie Kahn, and this is Friend of a Friend. I have a lot of creative friends. They make music, they make art, they make instruments, and they make beautiful lives. I thought, well, I'm lucky enough to be able to talk to them or listen to their music anytime, but it might be nice to introduce them to other people. So I started this podcast. Sometimes I'll talk to them, sometimes we'll hear their music, and this week it's a music sampling episode because, once again, it's Bandcamp Friday. Bandcamp is a website with a pretty great profit-sharing model to begin with, but on Bandcamp Friday, 100% of the profits go to the artists who are selling there. The show is going to be quite an eclectic mix. We have some Persian songs, we've got jazz, we've got music from Acadie, Cape Breton, via Quebec, and we've got more. So let's get started. I don't know about you, but the pairing of mallet percussion and Persian classical singing wouldn't be the first thing that would come to my mind. But that's what this album pairs, and it is beautiful. The ensemble is none other than the legendary Nexus percussion group based in Toronto, and they've been playing for probably 50 years. The singer is Sabida Raisadat, and she is just luminous, beautiful singing, supple, just incredible. I mean, it's a classical art form that she's been studying since childhood, and she's been so recognized. She's sung for UNESCO, she's sung on television in Europe. Let's just listen to some of this recording now. It's the last track from the CD Persian Songs. This is a long track and I'm not cleared to play it all anyway, so I'd like to do a little bit of a sneaky thing and come back in closer to the end of the track so you can hear some more of Sepida's singing. I should also mention that Sepida plays sitar, S-E-T-A-R, which is the Iranian instrument similar to a lute, so that is her playing that on this track as well. Let's hear a little more.
بلبل باغ سرای صبح نشان می‌دهد و از در ایوان بخواست بانگ خروسان باد مطرب یاران برفت ساقی مستان بخواد شاهد ما برقرار مجلس ما بردوار
That's the voice of Sepida Raisadat, the Iranian classical singer, and the ensemble Nexus. That's from their album Persian Songs, which is available on Bandcamp. And I didn't mention how I know them, and I know the show is called Friend of a Friend. I first met Russ Hartenberger from Nexus when I was working at CBC on the program 2 New Hours. Then I met him again during graduate studies, which is where I met Sepida. She also does scholarship on female singers in Iran. I just love these intersecting communities of musicians. Next up, it's composer and pianist and artist John Camille Farah. John is Canadian with Palestinian roots, and he grew up in the Toronto area. But these days he lives in Berlin, and if you can believe it, John earns a living there as a pianist and composer, which I think is no mean feat anywhere. He plays prestigious venues like the Volksbühne in Berlin, the Haus der Kulturen der Welt. In Hamburg, he's played the Elbphilharmonie. And when he comes home to Toronto for visits, you can catch him at the legendary Monarch Tavern. It's a really lovely show with a great atmosphere, and I recommend it if you ever get the chance to go. And I mean, it's different every time because John improvises a lot and he plays the piano, he brings in electronic elements, he likes Renaissance keyboard music, and you'll get some little tinges of that. He also brings in Middle Eastern melodies, and it's just very original and very compelling. As if he isn't talented enough, John's also a visual artist, quite prolific. He has series with as many as 200 drawings in them, and some of them are wispy and delicate. Some of them are pointillistic. It's the kind of thing that I find I can look at for a long time. I feel that way about a lot of his piano music too, and it was really difficult to choose a cut here, but I wanted one that brings in some of the range of what he does. So here's an excerpt from Maqam Constellation. That was music by John Camille Farah, Maqam Constellation, from his album Time Sketches, which is available on Bandcamp. And listening to that again, I was just thinking about, it's something that came up in my conversation with Thomas Bete a few weeks ago, how piano is such a difficult instrument to get a really good legato. It's hammered, right? It's naturally percussive. But I think that John does such a great job of eliding the notes together and giving the illusion of the way notes slide in Middle Eastern music, especially music using the maqam set of modes. And like I said, it does also connect to his visual art and to the way he creates these flowing images using little dots and points. His website is johnfarah.com. That's John and then Farah.com, or you can find his music on Bandcamp. I spend as much time as I can in Cape Breton. I've been going for decades. I started learning Gaelic singing and language. I chord for fiddlers. I'm all in. But still, something that I don't know that much about is Acadian music. So I was very excited when I saw this next CD. It's called Art Populaire. It's actually from a pair of musicians from Quebec, Nicolas Bouleris and Olivier Demers, and they're part of Le Vent du Nord, which is a Quebecois music group. But for this album, they are joined by Robert Deveau. He's from the north of Inverness County, the Cheticamp area, specifically Saint-Joseph-de-Moine, which is not far from Cheticamp along the coast there. And what I love about this album, not only is it got beautiful images, but more importantly, all the texts are there to the songs, and also, even better, a little story about where they got the song from. So this one, for example, and I'm translating on the fly, it says, "This is one of many Acadian songs that Robert heard being sung by his neighbor, Léo Apat au Coin, from Saint-Joseph-de-Moine." So what better way to get a song than from someone who's right from the place, who probably grew up hearing them. It's just a beautiful album. Let's hear some of that song now. Venez, jeunes gens.
Venez jeunes gens, venez pour écouter une chanson nouvelle sur une fille composée. La peine et la misère qu'ils ont eu à se fréquenter, son père aussi sa mère veulent leur en empêcher.
La peine et la misère qu'ils ont eu à se fréquenter, son père aussi sa mère veulent leur en empêcher.
Toi mon cher amant, m'aimes-tu autant quand tu es éloigné comme tes à mes côtés? Tu m'as fait des promesses qui me sont gravées au cœur. Ah, qu'il me serait douce d'avoir ce bonheur.
Tu m'as fait des promesses qui me sont gravées au cœur. Oh, qu'il me serait douce d'avoir ce bonheur.
Pour avoir ce bonheur, oh non, tu l'auras pas, car ton père et ta mère veulent te l'en empêcher. Et toi obéissante, tu leur obéiras. Pour mieux leur obéir, tu m'abandonneras.
Et toi obéissante, tu leur obéiras. Pour mieux leur obéir, tu m'abandonneras.
As always, I just hate to fade out, especially on something so much fun. That was a little taste of Venez, jeunes gens from the album Art Populaire, spelt like art. And that's an album featuring Robert Deveau from Cape Breton, from the Quebec duo of Nicolas Bouleris and Olivier Demers. And it's available on Bandcamp. And it's a bit of a stretch to call Robert a friend, but I have met him a few times, and he's certainly a friend and a relative of friends of mine. And I'm sure that he'll have some feedback for me on my pronunciation and translation. But anyway, I did my best, Rhain mi mo, as they'd say in Gaelic. And I wanted to remind you that it is Bandcamp Friday. And if you're thinking of being delighted by this CD in the long term, today's a great day to go and get it. Next up, it's trumpet player, composer, and arranger Patrick Boyle. This track is a little bit of a 2-for-1 because it also features another friend of mine, Bill Brennan, on piano. Pat's originally from Newfoundland. I met him in Toronto, and these days he's an associate professor in jazz studies at University of Victoria. I could talk a lot about his music, about how even though it's jazz, it has echoes of rock, of Balkan folk music, of traditional music, and all sorts of influences. But I think we should just listen to it. This is the title track from his album, After Forgetting. That fade was extra challenging. I'm so sorry, Patrick. I feel like I'm talking over you, but I can only play so much, and I do want people to go and purchase the track or listen to the whole thing themselves. That was the title track from Patrick Boyle's album, After Forgetting, and it featured Bill Brannon on piano, Mike Downs on bass, and Michael Ballard on drums. That was some wonderful music making from The Rock, St. John's, Newfoundland. Well, we're almost out of time here. Well, actually, we're not, are we? Because it's the world of podcasts now and it's unlimited. But I don't like to abuse your attention. I think 20 minutes is a good length for a podcast, 30 perhaps if it's a compelling conversation. So I'm going to wrap this up soon. I would like to thank, as always, Ali Burcock for his music, The Wolf, that I use as my theme at the top of the show. I just love it. I think it's perfect. And you can buy that on Bandcamp too. I'd also like to thank all of the musicians whose recordings I played on the show. And as always, I'll be listing all the music I played and linking to where you can get it in the show notes, which you'll find on my Substack. I'm Stephanie Kahn. This is Friend of a Friend. Next time up, we'll have another interview. I'm not quite sure who it's going to be yet. I'm also thinking that I might be releasing these every other week instead of every week because once again, I'm thinking of you and your time. Let's go out with a blast of tunes from Cape Breton fiddler Colin Grant. It's actually from his band Holler's self-titled CD, which is on Bandcamp. But this is a straight-up traditional track, so I hope you enjoy it. It's George VI, and I hope you'll tune in again.